Good evening, Big Brother fans. It is late at night. It is late Tuesday evening, and I am in my hotel room in New York. And I wanted to record a podcast episode talking about all the new house guests that we learned about 12 hours ago, actually. This is going to be a long podcast, and I was double checking on how long I could go. I was like, how long can I go on my current plan? I can do up to 3 hours. I am not doing 3 hours, don't worry. But I am going to be a long one. I'm going to talk about every house guest. I'm going to talk a little bit about the videos that got released and things that were said in them. Give you some of my basic impressions, but honestly, the basic impressions are just that, right? It's going to change once we see them on the feeds, but that won't be until Sunday, late Sunday. For what it's worth, a brief update before I get into this. Per Dingo at Hamster Watch, she's got a contact, and the house guests entered the house today. 16 or 17 of them entered because there is a mystery house guest that we don't know who it is. Now, the leading candidate for this 17th house guest right now seems to be Rachel Riley. I've been theorizing that she's going to be, quote, murdered and out of the house by Sunday. But the way Julie talked in an interview that was published today, she talked about the other people having to react to her having to react to a mystery house guest entering, that they're going to know. Some of them may be mad, or who's going to decide to work with the person, who's not. All this kind of stuff. It's like, well, does that mean they're going to be around for a long time, or is this just a short time thing? And Julie's kind of talking a little bit, not. She's just kind of talking as if the person would be around when the person really won't be. I don't know, but that happened today. So as of right now, it is roughly 8:20 ish in the Big Brother house PM, and they are there. They are in the house for sure. They are doing stuff. Whatever that stuff is, we don't know, and we'll have to piece it together late Sunday night. We'll get some of it from the show that airs tomorrow night. No, the show airs Thursday night. Oh my gosh. They've got Tuesday, Wednesday, and part of Thursday potentially that they could record stuff for Thursday's show. And okay, all right, whatever. I'm going to stop now because I just get myself frustrated. Let's talk about the house guests. So I last talked to you much earlier today as I was driving to the airport. I have obviously landed. I made it into New York and got to my hotel. I have had a very lazy afternoon. I'm not feeling a little bit on the under the weather stuff. I need to take some medicine, but we'll hammer through it, and hopefully I'll feel better tomorrow. It's hot in New York too, by the way. It's roasty. But I made it. I'm here, and I have gone over this list of house guests. At first we got names, and then we got videos and interviews, and what happened is CBS sent the 16, because we don't know the 17th person, they sent the 16 videos to the journalists, and the two journalists that we worry about that much are Sharon Tharp and Mike Bloom. And these were recorded with the house guests in the diary room talking, probably on Monday or last week at some point. And they just saw the videos. They didn't get to actually talk to the house guests or anything. I forgot they do it this way now. It used to be they would bring the house guests in to a room with the journalists, and the journalists would actually have a one-on-one conversation where they could ask questions, and then they rotate them around. They would have a bunch of journalists there, and they would rotate the house guests around to each journalist. But they didn't do that. They've really tightened up their system at this point now. So Sharon just watched the videos. I have not watched all of Sharon's yet because Sharon watched the videos and then gave her thoughts, kind of reacted to them while she was watching them. Mike actually went in and edited the videos as if he was the one asking the questions, which some people thought he was actually doing this, but he edited it that way. And it for my purposes, it was like, well, I'll just watch this then, and I did. I watched them all. I should go back and watch Sharon's if I have time tomorrow. Maybe I will. But I went through and I've watched them. I've got a list of things now. and I have gone through and I kind of was curious on who was saying similar things or different things or topics. So I'm going to go down this list. Crud! I was going to make a checklist and check it off, but I'm not going to worry about it. We'll just muddle through it. I'm going to give you all their names, ages, occupations, hometowns. We'll talk about a few other things, and we'll talk about some of the questions they answered, and then I'll just kind of give you guys my overall thoughts on, how I think things are going to go, because it's still all up in the air, and we don't know. And frankly, some of you have probably listened to 2 or 3 other people, if not more, do this dissection. And I've actually watched other people do this dissection, so I've actually learned more things as the night's been going on, or as the afternoon and night have been going on. So we'll add to that. So I'm going to take a quick pause here, and then I'll be back and we'll start doing this. So hang tight. It'll be no time at all for you. All right. So I've taken some medicine. I have got a drink, and I'm ready to go. What I have in front of me is I have Mike Bloom's Parade Magazine article that has the pictures, and then I have my little notes here on each person as far as their stats and stuff, and then I will just give you my basic thoughts on each one as I run down, and these will be very very light feelings about each one, and then we'll get into some of their specific answers to questions. So Adrian, and I think it's Roca, is the first one. 23-year-old male from San Antonio, Texas, and his occupation is listed as a carpenter. He's a lot, guys. He is a lot. He was talking about he is the best player that's ever played Big Brother, and yada, 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 and all this, and all the craziness stuff he's done. He's eaten slop. He said it, and I didn't believe it, but I've seen pictures now. He's built a wall that he said he had wall Wednesdays where he would practice on his wall. Now, it wasn't a huge wall. It was just an angled thing that he had to hold on to, but it doesn't need to be a huge thing to get that effect. So, yeah, I don't know. This is a bit crazy. He's a lot. That's all I keep saying is he's a lot. Now, all of these house guests, of course, are doing their interviews, and they're being pumped up by production, so he may be totally different once he is in the house, which he is now, remember. But all I can go by is the interviews, and that's what we're going to stick to. He's a lot. We'll have to see how it goes. So that was Adrian. By the way, there's a lot of A names. Next up is Amy. Amy Bingham. And she is 43, from Stockton, California. And she is listed, her occupation is an insurance agent. I can't tell you. By the way, let's just cut to the chase on all of these people for the most part. We'll get to it a little bit more later, but let's say for the most part, most of these people are not really Big Brother fans. They all talk like they are, and they all say things, and maybe they've watched 1 or 2 seasons, or they can remember watching it when they were a kid. But there's only a couple maybe that are like hardcore Big Brother fans, as far as I can tell. So no matter what they say in their interviews, I kind of take it with a grain of salt. And I'm not saying I don't think Amy, as memory serves, she knows Big Brother, but I don't think she's a huge Big Brother fan. I don't know how she got cast on it. She may have been. A lot of this is done by finding people on like Instagram or other social media platforms. They do a lot of recruiting that way, and so that's where she could have been pulled. Maybe she's, maybe she posts a bunch of pictures and she had a bunch of followers, and so they reached out to her. So I have very little thoughts on her. She talked about the live feeds, but only about how she was going to be, talking to her kids all the time on the live feeds. So you got that. All right. So that was Amy. We shall move along to Ashley Hollis. Ashley Hollis is 25 years old. She was one of the people that we heard about earlier. She was leaked last weekend. And so she's some kind of friends with Hannah from 24, right? Hannah Chada from the cookout. right? So she and Hannah have some kind of a relationship. She lists her hometown as Chicago, but also says she's currently in New York. And she also lists her profession as an attorney. So she graduated from Georgetown Law School, I think, but she's done other things too. She's kind of all over the place, but she's currently, I think, an attorney. I mean, that she seems like she could potentially be a very strong player. She has that potential. And it says she's 25, so she's in her 20s. She's friends with Hannah, of some type, and she's probably got a lot of advice from Hannah. She's probably done her research on the show and the game and all these kind of things. So yeah, she knew Hannah before Hannah was on Big Brother, so she probably watched her on Big Brother too. All right, next house guest, another A house guest, Ava Pearl. Ava's an interesting character. She is 24. She lives in New York. Hometown is Long Island, but I mean, for most of us, that's all the same area, right? I mean, Long Island is just, I'm in New York right now. It's just, I'm in New York City. It's just over there. It's not far away. She lists her occupation as aura painter. I don't know. She's an interesting character. I think she's a very sharp character, very smart, but I just don't know yet. I could, and this isn't to say she's like Nokomis, but now that I look at her and I think she might be like a Nokomis. Just kind of a quirky person who's pretty smart, and yeah, so I don't know. It could be interesting. I don't really think she's going to go far, but we'll see. We'll see. She might be along for the ride too, right? But yeah, Ava's an interesting character. So then you have next house guest is Clifton Will Williams, or as he called himself on the video interviews, Captain Will. He was in the armed forces. I don't remember which branch for like 20 some years. He's going into the house saying he's a college sports podcaster on women's basketball. He doesn't want to reveal his military service for some reason. I guess he thinks people will see it as a threat. There's a lot of that going on, by the way. Well, we may touch on that later, as far as what people want to say about themselves and what don't want to say about themselves. Some of them are giving themselves a little bit too much credit for being perceived as a threat if they talk about what they do. So I think that's what his issue is. He is from South Carolina. It says Wallace, currently Charlotte, but I mean, he's currently Charlotte, North Carolina. So South Carolina, North Carolina, that's where he's from. I told you the occupation. He specifically, during his interview, talked about he didn't like people complaining about being there and whining and everything, and lots of people got Kenny, like anti-Kenny vibes, because Kenny, of course, was like, I just want to go home. He's like, why would you just want to go home? Why would you do this? So take it for what it's worth. He's also, I should have said 50, he's also the oldest person in the house, which is just a kiss of death. He probably will get along a little ways, and then they'll just go like, well, time to get rid of somebody. Let's get rid of Captain Will's got to go. It's your time. It was Time Bandits. Yes, most of you wouldn't get it, but there's a Time Bandits in the movie where a character says you're done or something. Is thank you, sir, and then he just kind of zaps him and he's gone. So Will's just going to be like, yeah, Will, it's your time, bye, and he'll be evicted. Next up, we have Isaiah Zay. It says Frederick. Isaiah is also one of the ones that we got a sneak peek of last Saturday. And he's also the one who is friends with Sammy from Survivor 43. If I haven't said that yet, that's the additional details that most people probably now know that he's been on and stuff. He was a cheerleader, I think, with Sammy. And the rumor was that what I heard was that Sammy and Isaiah auditioned for Amazing Race, and they said, nope, we don't want you, because Sammy may have won Survivor 43, I'm not sure, but So they knew Sammy was a known quantity, but they says, no, we can't use you. But you know what, Isaiah? You'd be really good on Big Brother. And he ended up on Big Brother. So he's coming with some baggage as far as some of the fandom is concerned. He went to BYU. He's a Mormon. I think there's people that are very like, oh, how conservative is he? Is he gonna say things that are going to offend some of the house or some of the viewers or whatever? I don't know exactly. But he's 23. He's from Paducah, Kentucky, but his current city is Provo, and his listed occupation is salesperson. I don't know. That's so vague. That is such a vague position. A lot of these positions, a lot of these jobs are just like very vague. Salesperson. Don't know what it does. He doesn't want to tell. I remember him saying he doesn't want to tell people he's a salesperson, though. I think because sales, like he can talk people into things. You got me. Next, we have Jimmy Hagerty. I don't know how you say his last name, and I've watched his video, and I'm not going to worry about it. But Jimmy, 25, from Sarasota, Florida, currently in D.C., he's not going to tell people he's from D.C. because he thinks that will be a bad thing. And his occupation listed as AI consultant. You got me, folks. That seems like that's like saying Brett was a security consultant. That's just let's call you this. Well, this is my real job. Yeah, that's too specific. Let's just call you an AI consultant. Jimmy, not that this is a bad thing or a good thing or whichever, but Jimmy specifically is gay. He said it. He talked about it when he came out to his family and stuff. So there's always people that are like, well, where's the gay person? Well, there's at least your one who's said outwardly right in the interviews that he's gay. By the way, touching on the promise from CBS that was to be considered a DEI thing that from the government that they kind of like they made their promise to have like 50% of the cast be what would be called a quote minority, right? And I don't know where this cast falls because they kind of got rid of that. They kind of trashed that thing, and so I'm not sure if they followed it or not, and I don't particularly care to figure it out. But you would take the gay, lesbian, bi, as well as your people of color, POC, and that can include anyone who's Asian or black. So in this case, we'll get to somebody at the end named Zach, named Zach, whose mom is Filipino. That qualifies him as part Asian, and that would fall into that would check one of the boxes, as it were. Anyways, all right. So Jimmy, very loud, very rambunctious on the interview. He laughed uncomfortably after a lot of his answers. That's what I noticed. He would finish and then he would just laugh uncomfortably or comfortably, whichever you want to say. He would just laugh like, this means I'm done talking. I just noticed it after several questions. So I will see if that carries through to the Big Brother house. So that is Jimmy. Then we have Catherine Woodman. Catherine is 23. So Jimmy was 25. Catherine is 23. She is not quite the youngest, I don't think. She's the second youngest in the house. She's in Georgia, Gwinnett County, Georgia. Currently, though, in Columbia, South Carolina. I know she mentioned going to college for 4 years. I don't know if she actually got a degree, but I would kind of assume she did. But she lists her occupation, and she said it in the interview, as a fine dining server. So I guess that means I'm an upscale waitress, and I'm not besmirching the waiter, waitress, server profession, but fine dining server just sounds like a funny, a special way of saying, yes, she's a waitress. Probably wears a vest or something else, just fancy. There's probably 2 or 3 of them that take care of a table. It's not just one person, that kind of a thing. I imagine she gets a pretty hefty tip every night for a few tables. So she talked a lot about how she's going to be and how she's going to fly under the radar in some ways and let people think that she doesn't know anything, but she's really smart and yes, okay. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll talk more about these again when I get to the end, when I get through all the names, because they answered questions certain ways, and that's kind of where I'm going to spend more time on those. Why can't I say his name now? Keanu. Keanu Reeves. Keanu Soto is the next one. And Julie even commented about him, saying he was like Jason Momoa. And I'm thinking, you guys already did the Jason Momoa connection 3 seasons ago. Matter of fact, was it 20? I don't remember which one. But anyways, I think you may know the guy I'm talking about. I can't think of his name right now. But okay, we're doing it again. Except for this guy doesn't have the facial hair that Jason Momoa has. Momoa, yeah. But again, Keanu Soto. He's 33, from Miami, Florida. Although he's currently in McKinney, Texas. And they list his occupation as dungeon master. Now, I'm sorry, that's not an occupation. That's a hobby. He said he's a fitness instructor or fitness trainer. That would be his job. And on the side, on weekends or at night, he does some running of Dungeons and Dragon dungeons, which is just basically you lead games. People playing dice games, and you're the one who's in charge of it and directing how things go. It's not an occupation. I mean, I'm sure somewhere out there are full-time dungeon masters, a few, but not many, and they probably charge a pretty penny to have you play their games. But this is not what he does. So he talked fine. He seemed okay. We'll have to see. He's a very big physical guy, and that may help or hurt him in the game. Okay. So, pardon me, I'm taking a drink too here. We're moving right along because I said we got 16 to get through, so I got to get this done. We're already 21 minutes into my podcast. Next up is Kelly Jorgensen. Now it's Kelley Jorgensen. Now Kelly, couple of just little bits of information about Kelly. One of them I learned just tonight because I was in Quinn from last season does a Twitch stream and stuff, and I was popped into his Twitch stream while he was talking about stuff for a while, and he mentioned that Kelly is following him on Instagram, and he's the only Big Brother house guest that Kelly followed on Instagram, so he's quite tickled pink about that. Kelly is 29, hometown listed as Burbank, South Dakota. I just saw the Burbank and I was like, oh, South Dakota. So Burbank, South Dakota, occupation web designer. And she has a look. Most of the other ones, it's just, her look is interesting. I think the pictures that they put on her profile is not good. They aren't very flattering to me. When I saw the video, I was like, oh, no, okay. So she likes big framed glasses. She's got a big toothy smile. But when I saw her do the interview, she reminded me, and this is going to date me, and some of you will have no idea who I'm talking about, and that's okay. But somebody else said it today on Blue Sky, which reminded me that, okay, it wasn't just my imagination. As soon as she talked, and as soon as I could see her face moving, her expression, she reminded me of an actress named Ali Sheedy, who was the other girl besides Molly Ringwald in the movie The Breakfast Club. That's one of her parts she played. So I saw that. That's who I thought of when she started talking. And then somebody else said it on Blue Sky. I was like, no. She's like, is that my imagination? Like, no, I thought of that too. So she kind of looks like her. She's very outgoing, very friendly on the interview. Seems good. Seems interesting. If she can navigate. Technically, she may be coming across as kind of I don't want to say mousy girl or a bookish girl. She's not going to be out there, I think, in her bathing suit wooing the guys. She said she has a boyfriend, so she's not going to be looking for a showmance. I don't think. That hasn't stopped some people. So anyone who says I have a boyfriend or I have a girlfriend, that's not a definite no, but it's an indicator. So, anyways, 29. Web designer, and again, she had her strategies. She didn't seem completely out there like, oh, she has no idea what she's doing. And yeah, she could be interesting and fun to watch. All right, we go on to the next one. We're getting there. Scroll. And here is Laura, the youngest house guest. Laura Dominique. I think it's Domingue. Domingue, and my head is completely stuffed up right now, so I can't even talk properly. She's 22. She's from Lafayette, Louisiana. Or as she would say, Lafayette. I think she said Lafayette. I don't know. You pronounce Lafayette different ways depending on the part of the country you're in. So, and she listed her occupation as a bridal consultant. Again, that's another nondescript. So is web designer, by the way. Web designer is a very nondescript title. There are lots of web designers. I know I work with several web designers, but when you see that somebody listed that as their occupation and they're going to live in a house for 2 months, 3 months, yeah, how solid was that job? Or were you just kind of doing side work as a web designer and you could walk away from it for 3 months? Same as bridal consultant. I don't know. Maybe she works at a bridal shop and she just was done with it and said, I'm just going to take a break and I'll come back when I'm done. Maybe. I don't know. She seemed fine. Nothing struck me as like, oh, wow, she's going to be good. So, yeah, it is what it is. We'll see. We're almost there. We got Mickey. No, we're not almost there. Gosh darn it, we got like 4 more to go, I think. Mickey Lee. Mickey, first of all, we saw the name Mickey, and it was like, oh, Mickey. I thought a guy. First of all, it's a woman. And so she's 35 years old. She's from Jacksonville, Florida, but lives currently in Atlanta, Georgia. And it says she's an event curator. What? I don't know if she talked about her job in the interview. What's an event curator? Are you a photographer? Is that what you're doing? How do you curate an event? I'll have to look that up. Some of you are probably screaming at your device right now because I don't know what an event curator is, but I just don't know. Let me look. You know what? You're going to wait here for a second, and I'm not even going to pause it. We're just going to copy, because I got all these notes written out. We're going to copy this, and I'm going to go to this web page, and I'm going to paste, and do this. Click. An event curator is a professional who conceives, plans, and executes events. So she's an event planner. Okay. All right. They just decided to start using the word curator. Got it. Check. Makes total sense. We're not calling ourselves event planners anymore. We're now event curators. That's just like you know what that's like, by the way? Let me just scroll up here a couple of lines to my list. That's like a fine dining server, right? We used to have waitress and event planner, and now we have fine dining server and event curator. All right, enough. She can be awesome at her job. I just, those things kind of drive me crazy. She came across as very, she seemed pretty smart, pretty sharp. We'll have to see how it goes. It's hard telling. It's hard telling where she's going to fall in. Who was it? Oh, it was the very first woman. I meant to talk about this. It was the very first. Which one was it? One of the women talked about an alliance of all women, and because it's never succeeded, and we're going to make it work. I think it was the second woman that we talked about. I think I'm scrolling here. I got to scroll up. It was not her. I think it was Amy. Yeah, pretty sure it was Amy that talked about. Yeah, it was the first woman. Talked about a. Let me scroll her timeline, because now I got to get through this again. You're gonna have to put up with me, folks. I'm sorry. This is why I'm not editing this stuff. We're just doing it and doing it live. Hoping to play the game. Yes. What is your strategy? I'm hoping to play the game by having women's backs. Yep, that's Amy. That is not. That is not Mickey. Mickey is not saying that. So yeah, Amy's the one who talked about having women's backs. And okay, you do you, but I don't know if that's a good plan. So, anyways, Mickey seems fine. Should be interesting, fun to watch. And we'll move on to the next one. I'm going to pause right now because I'm about to cough, so I'll be back in half a second. All right, back from Mickey, we're moving on to Morgan Pope. Morgan is 33. So we have a few people in 30s and quite a few people in their 20s. This cast is a little bit younger than last season's, I believe. Somebody did the math. I just got the numbers. Morgan she lists her. She's 33 from Palm Springs, but currently in Los Angeles, and she lists her occupation on this interview sheet as gamer, but she also mentioned being a model. So I went and found she is a attractive woman who plays video games and plays them well, whether it was Fortnite or whatever she was playing. But some of the allure is the fact that she's a pretty woman playing a game, right? So she does enjoy playing video games, but I'm going to tell you right now, part of it is the sex appeal. That's what sells. So she does it. I went to her Twitch stream. I looked at her YouTube channel. She has an Instagram too. So she doesn't have a blue sky. None of these people had blue skies, by the way. None of them that we found had a blue sky thing. So kind of disappointed. We were hopeful, but that was a big ask. Didn't happen. So a lot of people are fired up about Morgan. All right, maybe not a lot, but some. Morgan really thinks that if people know that she's a gamer, they're going to try to get rid of her. So she's not going to tell people she's a gamer. Now, someone made I don't know if they were a joke or serious, but they thought, she probably watched the Traders last season where they talked about wanting to get the gamers out because I don't remember who it was, if it was the housewives of whatever that were like, you got to get the gamers out. And by that, they meant the reality show gamers, the people that play reality shows. You got to get those people out first. So they called them the gamers. Whether she saw that and thought, well, I'm a gamer too. It's like, no, you're a video game player. I don't particularly think anyone would think of a video game player as a threat for that part of what they do. I just don't think they would. So, but she seems to think they will. So she's going to keep quiet about that. At least she said she is. Next up, Riley Jeffries. Okay, guys, here's the first one that we're kind of this poor guy. His account his profile has blown up in the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours. And I don't even know what all I want to say about it. But people have went and gone digging for some dirt, and they found dirt. And we'll see. We'll see what happens for Riley. Nothing super bad. I mean, I'm sure CBS do these things. Like he had it. I think he had some tickets, or he's been arrested for something or other. I nothing like not domestic violence or something like that. He's just a couple of maybe alcohol things. I don't want to read. I don't want to say too much because I'm not looking at it right in my face, and it's what people typed in a chat room or on a message board, and I don't want to say that's I'm taking them for their word. So either way, he is a professional bull rider from Luther, Oklahoma, 27 years old. And he came across to me as kind of like Frenchie. And that was just his simple, I just want everybody to get along, and I don't want to do, and all that. And he seemed like a really nice guy. And then people started posting things today. It's like, and not that he's a bad guy, but it's like, this is the most extent I will say. It appears, if one is to believe Facebook, that Riley has a baby mama. Oh God, I hate these terms. He got somebody pregnant, and they are about to have the baby, but they are on speaking terms. And the person who's accusing him of saying all of this says that she kind of stopped talking to him because he said something about not being an ATM or something. So it's not very flattering. I don't know. I would think that this would have come up to CBS, and they kind of like, yeah, we'll start going with you. So I don't think this should be news to them. I don't know if this would be a deal breaker or not. If they didn't know about it, if they had found it out, let's say they didn't know about it, they just found it out. I don't know if that's a deal breaker. And if they did already know about it, then obviously it wasn't a deal breaker. So it is what it is, but just be prepared if you see things online about Riley. That's at least some of it, right? So that's the first bomb to drop today on these house guests. Nobody else has dug up much on anybody. There's two guys to go. We have Vincent or Vinny Pinaro. Pinaro. He's 34, lists his hometown as West Hills, California, and his occupation, hey, here's a guy who isn't making anything up. He's unemployed. And in his interview, he talked about, I'm just going to say what it is, and I'm still trying to find a job that I like to do, and I've done this, and I've done that. Says, I know what I don't like to do. I just haven't found out that thing that I really want to do. So I think he mentioned in his interview possibly sports photographer. And all I could think was, that's not just something you kind of just start doing. There's most of the professional sports photographers that you see out there went to school for it. But whatever, Vinny, you do you, and I hope you find your joy. He seems like a pretty level-headed guy. I think he could do fairly well as long as he gets along with the rest of the house. And he seems like he's easygoing. So we'll have to see. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Joseph, but that's because he has a mustache and he's got dark hair. That may be where it ends. As soon as I saw dark hair and a mustache, I thought, oh, that's kind of like Joseph. He does not have Joseph's personality at all. They are two completely different people. But that's Vinny. And then we have made it all the way to Zach. I think Zach was on the list of people that we saw on Saturday as well. Zach Cornell, 27, from Cartersville, Georgia. Says he's a marketing manager. So he's pretty loud about himself, pretty confident. Reminds a lot of us a little bit of Matt from last season. So I mentioned talking about the DEI, whatever you want to call it, with CBS. He mentioned his mom's Filipino. So to me, he looks a little bit like Matt. All right, so that is the entire cast, except for this mystery 17th house guest, which we just don't know the details on. And I'm not going to speculate on that too much more. Maybe if I talk to you guys tomorrow, I'll talk a little bit more about it. But there's some speculation it might be like Rachel Riley. I may have already said this earlier. We just don't know. So there's that. One more note, and I'm going to take another break that you won't hardly notice, and then we'll do the longer talk about these questions that they answered. So in the house, without including the 17th person, wherever they fall in this category, we have 10 house guests that are in their 20s. We have 4 house guests in their 30s, 1 in their 40s, and 1 in their 50s. And Will is 50 exactly, and Amy is 43. And then you've got mid-30s for 4 house guests and then 20-something. So what does that mean? I don't know. It just means it's skewing a little bit younger than it has the last couple of years, I think. All right, so once again, another break that you won't hardly notice, and I'll be right back. All right, here we are back again. So what I did was I went through, and I'm kudos to Mike Bloom here, because he actually, I don't know how he did it, whether he used AI, but he got, or he just it's using AI to get the transcript, the audio transcript of what everybody said in their interviews, right? So he has all of their answers. He had all of their answers in text on that Parade Magazine article. So this is things that were from that article. I just basically went through, looked at it. I grouped together answers. I was curious. There's 2 things that were going on here. I was kind of like, all right, I started to hear some of the house guests saying the same things, right? It's kind of like, I wonder how many are saying the same things. And I actually thought about going through, downloading all the videos, editing them together so I would have question and then all of the house guests saying similar things, and then next question and all of the house guests saying the same things. And it would have taken me hours to do that. And instead, I did this, and we're going to talk about it. And it'll get much less visibility because I won't post it online or anything, but other than my podcast, but it's fine. You guys get to hear me talk about it and take it for what it's worth. This may be an effort. This may be a futile thing. The other thing I want to do is, and I set this up while I had it paused, was I am going to put a little X by every house guest every time their answer is in one of these categories. I'm just thinking in the end it may indicate, oh, this house guest hardly said anything of relevance in my brain, or hardly said anything that was similar to any of the other house guests, if that makes sense, right? All right. So, with that, we will start. We talked about The house guests were talked about winning money. If their motivation was winning money, what was going on, or what they do if they won, all these kind of things. So here are the quotes that were related to that. And again, this isn't every house guest. This is only a limited number of house guests. But this is how I'm dividing up some of their interviews so that we can kind of look at that. And this is going to be where most of them were talking. I think most of them were asked, what would you do with the money if you won? So Adrian said, I'm here to win the money for my family, but also to become the greatest of all time. Did I mention he was a bit much? Right. So here's one for Adrian. So Amy mustn't have said much because I didn't find anything worth quoting. Ava and Ashley the same. So now we're down to Ava. Ava said, no, Ashley's down below. Okay, the order is off. Ava said, I want to compete on Big Brother for the money. Yeah, I need the money. I live in New York. It ain't cheap there, and I will be the one to win Big Brother because I need the money the most. I'm broke as hell, and I will do whatever it takes to win that $750,000. So there you go. Ava had a lot of thoughts about the money. Ava needs the money. That's what she said. And then Ashley said, I'm trying to knock the competition over, and I'm trying to get this $750,000. I think the hardest thing will definitely be watching your best friends go home, but also get out because I'm trying to win the $750,000. So there was Ashley, little X by her name. Jimmy Haggerty. I am here to win because that $750,000 check is going to have my name on it, and I'm here to make friends along the way and walk out of that house collecting a check for $750,000. I think he said he's been manifesting it for a month and a half. So I remember him saying that during the interview too. So that was Jimmy. All right. Keanu. I'm going to mess this name up constantly. I know it's Keanu Reeves. That's what I have to keep thinking. Keanu. Keanu. All right, we're stopping. You guys are going to message me. Someone will tell me phonetically how to say that name. I get it. I'll work on it. He said, but you've got to do what you've got to do to win $750,000, right? He also said, I want to win $750,000. I don't need an Achilles heel. When he said that sent me down a whole little mental thing about the term Achilles. I don't need an Achilles heel. We know what he meant. But yeah, anyways, that's just me. It was just like, Achilles heel is an interesting term. All right, so then Mickey Lee said, I want to show the world what I can do and what I'm capable of, and that's winning $750,000. Also, she said, I'm here for one thing, and that one thing only, and that is to win this money. There was Mickey. All right. The point is, some of these people listening to this, it's like, all right, the names I'm giving you are people that were very specific about some of these points they were making, and it might give you a little bit of insight into what they're thinking versus people that just talked on and didn't really say anything. Riley said, I get a chance to actually go win this deal. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He also said, that's the only reason I'm here. I'm here to win. All right, Riley. Because you got diapers to buy, Riley. Sorry. Bad, Mike. Vinny, whichever he goes by, Panero. The object of the game is to win $750,000. I'm going to do whatever it takes to win that money and be holding that check at the end, and for Julie to be calling my name. So here's Mr. Vince. Seemed to have a very clear idea of why he wanted to win it and that he wanted to win it. And then finally Zach, who simply said, I want to do whatever it takes to win the $750,000. If you noticed, I did a search on that thing there, so that's probably why they came up. The other's going to talk about win the money, but that's what I caught. All right. The next category that I came up with was the social game connections with their fellow house guests and stuff, that kind of stuff. So, how many, a lot of them would say that, my social skills are, great. I have great social skills. I know how to manipulate people or do this, so this is what they're talking about in this case. So, back to Adrian again. Adrian said a lot. Adrian had opinions, and he's the best player ever. So Adrian said, the first stage, the early game, the social media is the most important part, or the social game is the most important part. You have to build up these relationships. And then he also said, I learned how to get along with everybody, the nerd, the jocks, young or old. Okay, Adrian, you've got it figured out. Now, Amy, who we hadn't hear from last time, she said, I feel like it's a dream of strategy. I feel it's a dream of strategy and connections, and I'm good at building connections with people. Also, my social game is going to be my biggest strength in the house. That's what Amy said. Insurance agent Amy, which honestly, if she's a good insurance agent, she should be good at social relationships and stuff. Ashley said, I think another one of my strengths will just be my social game. I'm very outgoing. I'm very bubbly. I'm very warm. People get close to me really fast. So my strategy going into Big Brother house is definitely to rely on my social game. I'm going to come in and build my social capital. That's Ashley. A lot of them had thoughts on this social stuff. Catherine, my strategy going into the house is to try to be everyone's friend. I'm going to win Big Brother because I think people are going to underestimate me and they're not going to anticipate my strong social game. Remember I said she kind of wanted to fly under the radar. She thinks she's going to be underestimated. That is Catherine. Kelly, this web developer Kelly. My strengths are definitely my social skills and my ability to read people. If I can rely on the social aspect and friends that I make, they're going to have a really hard time voting me off. I just know it. We'll see. They may cry, but they may still do it too, because you got to get rid of people that you really don't want to if you want to win. Lauren Dominique. No, Domingo. Yeah. Sorry. Doesn't matter. We never see their last name. So Lauren. I also love talking and connecting with people, so I feel like my social game is going to be something that is going to be my strength for me, going to be a strength for me as well. I think my strategy going into the house is going to really be sort of talking to each person and sort of feeling people out, getting really close to them. That is Lauren. Okay. I'm making my little marks here as I do this. Mickey, I want to be the girl's girl. I want to be everyone's favorite, everyone's friend. Well, then maybe Mickey will make an early alliance with Amy, right? When Amy says, I want to make a girl's alliance, Mickey's probably going to go like, hell yeah, I'm in for that. Right? Pardon me. Making everyone feel good about themselves. I'm a charmer. I think I'm very, very intentional. I am very good at observing others and reading people very well and quickly. I think I'm good at allowing people to like me. That's an interesting way to say that. I think I'm good at allowing people to like me. Huh. That's interesting. All right. That is Mickey. Uh-oh. Did I quote Mickey before? Now I'm like, oh, I did. So this is Mickey gets a second X by her name. It's very important stuff I'm doing here. All right. After Mickey, we have Morgan. So I'm going to lean on my social game and just keep in my back pocket that I'm a gamer girl. Remember the gamer thing? I'm going to crush my enemies in the game through my social game. Okay, Morgan. You do that. I don't know. Morgan could be really, really good. I just don't think the gamer girl thing is as much as she thinks it is. I don't get why she thinks that's such a huge thing. I watched her play a couple of the games, and I just thought she's just running around shooting things and using terminology that I don't understand and being very impressed with herself for blowing up pixels. And I like playing computer games, by the way. But I'm like, it's a skill, but it ain't a very marketable skill. It's a very limited thing that you can do with that, unless you're attractive and you can get people to watch you do it. So, all right, that was Morgan. After Morgan, we're to Riley again. It don't matter what race you are. It don't matter what or what you believe in. The only thing that matters right at that moment. The only thing that matters is right in that moment. We can't go anywhere. We can't do anything. We have to be with each other. So either you're going to like each other or not. And I want to make friends, lifetime friends. That's where I got the Frenchie feeling, right? And he's just like, I don't really care. I'm not here to win. I'm here to make friends. I got to do what's right. I got to do what's right. I mean, that was how Frenchie talked. And Frenchie also didn't last very long. But, he's a nice guy. Here's Vince again. Vince, I think I'll be social enough to be able to make the genuine connections that is the foundation of strategizing. Okay, I don't know. Sounds good, Vince. Zach, I'm somebody that can really interact well with other people around them. And so I'm going to really push me being a pastor's kid. Week 1, I want to be somebody that you can feel you can trust immediately. I don't know if the pastor's kid angle is a good angle to bring out. I'm not sure. I don't know. That's interesting that he would think that might be a way to a thing to use. All right, so that is the second round of things that I went through. Interestingly enough, haven't heard from Cliff or Isaiah with either of those two subjects. Everybody else has had something to say, or in the way that I feel, search through it. Intent to keep secrets. Like several of them had expressed that not going to tell people this, I'm not going to tell people that, and then how to, because that's how that affects their perception, people their perception. So the house guests are planning to say they're going to hold things back to avoid becoming an early target. That was kind of the thought. So that's what these parts of their interviews touch on. So, guess who had something to say on this topic? Yes, Adrian certainly did. Adrian said, I live and breathe Big Brother. I won't tell them I make my own slop. I won't tell them I slept on the floor to train for the have-not room. I won't tell them I built my own balance beam comps, my own wall comps. Yes, he has. I think I mentioned he has a wall comp Wednesday. He did build a wall. I saw a picture of it tonight. I don't know. I don't know if that's really going to help you. Matter of fact, Quinn said that stuff doesn't matter. You can do all that stuff you want. It's not going to really prepare you for it once you're in the house. But it is what it is. Okay, so that's Adrian getting his third little X because he was just a chatty guy. Ashley also had an opinion. And Ashley said, I'm never going to reveal that I'm an attorney, right? So Ashley's the attorney. I'm going to come in and say that I work in social media marketing in New York. And I think people won't know that I'm a really strategic person, that I have a law degree from one of the top 14 law schools in the country, and they won't see me coming. Now, that actually is one of the kind of being an attorney, like Joseph was an attorney, right, from a couple of years ago. I think being an attorney is a good profession to kind of keep to yourself. That will scare people, for better or for worse. It will scare people because you're seen as, you're a lawyer. You argue. That's what you do. You're used to debating people. You're used to getting your way, and so that's probably a smooth move on her part, not to mention the attorney part. Ava's the aura person. And she says, I would like to hide the fact that I know how to read people's auras in the house. I'm going to be quiet about this one and just go, Sure, Ava. Mainly just because, number one, I don't need them getting freaked out thinking I'm a witch. I would never think Ava was a witch. And number two, I don't need them knowing my secret weapon. Okay, Ava. By the way, I think some of these I don't think Ashley will ever tell anybody she's an attorney unless she has a ride or die. I think Adrian if he has probably already told people some of the stuff he's done, because I don't think Adrian can keep it to himself. I think Ava will tell multiple people that she gets feeling close enough to kind of say that she can read auras, as she tries to suck them into look, I'm not going to tell anybody else's, but I can read auras, and you have a great aura, and so-and-so has a bad aura. I can see her using that as a way to try to build trust in her mind. So, yeah, Ava, I don't know if I really believe that you're not going to tell people that stuff. Cliff. Here's one from Cliff. Captain Will, as he likes to call himself again. I'm not going to tell the household I did 22 years in the Army. It was the Army. That's not going to happen. No way, shape, or form. I'm not walking in on day one with a target on my back. I don't know. Because Cliff is 50 years old. He's old to the rest of the people in the house. I'm older than Cliff, by the way, so I'm not trying to say disparaging things about him, but that's just how he feels. I'm old, and I'm sorry. He doesn't feel old, obviously, because none of us feel old, but he will be perceived by the rest of the house as old. So he's gonna. I don't think saying he was in the military is going to make anybody go like, oh, we should get rid of him. And that's what he's doing. So, okay. If there had been any other, and I don't think there is, if there's anybody else in the house that was in the military, I think Cliff would eventually tell them I was in the military too. But I don't think there anybody else is. So he doesn't have anyone to share that with. So he may keep it as a secret to himself. Catherine said, I'm not going to intentionally try to get anybody to think I'm smart or I'm thinking too much about the game. I'm totally fine with being viewed as kind of a ditzy person running around the house. So, yep. We'll see. We get into this a little bit later when we talk about showmances, right? We'll see how some of these things play out. Kelly Jorgensen says, I would love to not reveal my profession, web designer. I have a couple really successful businesses that I run. Did I mention a couple really successful businesses that I run? Yes, that sounds to me like a web designer for hire, freelancer, which is great, but that's kind of what I would have guessed, that she's a freelance web designer, not a web designer that works at a company, right? Because there are people that do that. So Kelly, yeah, she doesn't want to tell people that. I don't know. I don't know why that would scare people off. Other than I'm an independent business person, and I don't want them to think I have my life together. And she said, and also that I've traveled so extensively. Some of these people I know. I don't know if it's in my list in my quotes here, but some of these people. I think it was Vincent, maybe. I think, and I don't know if I remember if I captured the quote or not. But Vincent talks about. Do I have Vincent? So Vincent, I didn't get Vincent's quote, but I can remember him saying it now. So I'm going to put a mark by Vincent because I'm actually going to quote him, and we'll talk about it. Vincent was talking about how he didn't want. He's not going to lie, but he could see how people could think, well, why don't you have a job? Are you a trust fund baby? Or kind of. He started to get inside his own head. I think that was him that did that. I think. Yeah, I'm not sure, but let's carry on. After Kelly was Lauren, I might not tell the house guests I'm a huge super fan because I feel like I might paint a target on my back. Excuse me. This goes back to the term super fan. I don't think Laura's ever watched the live feeds once in her life, and in my opinion, to call yourself a super fan, you need to have watched the live feeds at least like one season or part of a season. And only 2 of the house guests referenced watching the live feeds when they were doing their interviews, and that was Vincent or Vinny and I think Ashley, right? Yeah, Ashley may have referenced watching Big Brother After Dark, which is a pseudo live feed, right? You got to watch it some hours of the day. So nobody else talked about watching the live feeds when they were younger as a part of being a fan. And anybody who's a super fan would say, I love watching the live feeds and chatting about it online. That's super fan land. None of these people talked about that at all. We'll see if it shows up in their conversations in the house. Hopefully, if they do talk about it before the feeds come on, then they talk about it again so we can catch it later. after the feeds have come on. All right. Okay, so Lauren, yeah, that's the never-ending, I don't want to tell people I'm a fan because it'll put a target on my back. Yeah, maybe. It depends on how you do it. If you don't do it and then you do it later on and it gets out, that starts to paint a target on your back. If you kind of say, oh, I've watched stuff, I kind of know bits and pieces, but I don't know a whole lot, that's better than playing completely innocent, because eventually you will start having problems talking. That would be me. I'd have a problem not talking and saying things I shouldn't. Morgan. So that was Lauren. And put a mark by Lauren. And next is Morgan. Morgan has an R in her name. I don't know why I didn't have it there. And she said, I'm keeping that a secret because, hello, if I tell them I'm a gamer, they're going to boot me right out. So I'm just going to keep this little model-esque persona to go on. And I'm not going to tell the house guests that I'm a gamer because I just feel that's going to already create a huge target. I've already talked about all this, so we'll just move right along. I do not think that being a gamer is going to put you in danger, Morgan, but you seem to have your mind made up. So, Jimmy, I 100% will not be telling anybody what I do for work or where I work, and the where I work being D.C. And when he said it, he kind of been like, because people think people in D.C. it's kind of a crazy world. So that was Jimmy, and he's the AI, whatever that means, whatever kind of AI means. Okay, and then Isaiah. Here's the first comment from Isaiah saying, I haven't decided yet if I want to talk about the fact that I do sales. Again, sales, it can be looked at as, well, you're really good at selling people stuff, right? So you could sell me a line of BS and then vote me out, right? So all of the house guests got asked. Next questions were on, or next subject that I kind of went through. All of the house guests were asked about if they were a hero or a villain, or if they were going to be a hero or a villain, or that kind of thing. We didn't hear the questions, by the way. We just had to guess what they were being asked based on their answers. Although most of them had been trained to answer the question by repeating the question to start with. That's a thing they trained them to do, right? It really was kind of both, a lot of them. So Amy said, I'm a lover, I'm a girl's girl, so I feel like probably more of a hero. Okay, Amy. Remember, she's forming that girls' alliance. Ashley, attorney Ashley, said, I think I could be both a hero and a villain. I'm someone to stick up against the bullies. But I think that I could also translate to being a villain because I'm outspoken. Again, attorney, so yep, I could see all that applying for her. Ava, I'm not afraid to be the villain if I have to this season. Ava's the aura person. I'm trying to go in there and win my money. If I have to be the supervillain, I gotta be the supervillain. I mean, that's nice that Ava thinks that she can be a supervillain. Ava doesn't come across to me as a supervillain. But remember, she gave me Nakoma vibes. And Nakoma was pretty ruthless in her season in some ways. Five Fingers, the back door, the whole thing. I mean, Nakoma's wasn't messing around. So, yeah, Nakoma's all right. Or Ava, I mean. Clifton said, I think I'll be a hero. Well, why would an Army veteran not be a hero, right? So Clifton just went straight up, I'm going to be a hero. Isaiah, honestly, I want to kind of play the hero role a little bit this season. I don't want to make so many enemies and be a villain that I don't get votes at the end. Well, if you know how to do it well, you use the fact that you were a villain to your advantage, and hopefully your jury respects that sometimes you have to play the villain role to win, and that gets you your votes. But okay, Isaiah, let's wait and see how it goes for you. Catherine said, I think whether or not I'm a hero or a villain in Big Brother House is more so going to depend on the people I'm surrounded with. Great non-answer, Catherine. Wayne just decided to say it depends. All right. Kelly. Oh, if I'm a villain on this show, you know something has gone very wrong. I am definitely not a villain. Kelly, the web designer. I'm trying to give you the occupations to kind of drill it into your brain and also drill it in my own brain, right? Lauren, I think I would be more of a hero this summer, but I can be a villain if I need to. Okay. These people are giving very basic answers. Nikki said, I think to some I might be a villain, but then some people might think I'm a hero because at least I'm honest about it. And then she said, I'll be a hero villain. And she said, I made a new word. Yes. I don't know. That's what that is. I guess a new word. Morgan said, I honestly would love to be more of a hero girl. There's something about defeating the villain and being the hero that is just so worthwhile. Okay, Morgan. You be that hero. I'm tending to want to root for the villains, because they seem to be the underdog here. Riley said, I think I'll be a hero. Like I said, I'm not a mean person. I want everybody to succeed. They can't. This is Big Brother. Jimmy. Back up to Jimmy. Jimmy said, I'm definitely more of a villain. There you go, Jimmy. But see, when I say that, most people actually tell me I'm more of a hero, so I think it could go either way. I don't care. You aspire to be the villain, Jimmy. Take that. That's a good one. Zach, I'm going to come down to scenarios when we get into it, and I'm not afraid to turn on people. So you could really perceive me as a villain when it comes to it, because I'm not afraid to turn on people, lie, cheat, steal, do whatever it takes to win. So, yeah, Zach's like, we'll play it by ear, but I'm not afraid to be a villain. And here we get to the showmance features. Is this my last question? I got two more. And I already talked about the other one. So really, this is almost the last question, or last grouping of answers that I put together. And it was showmances. They were all asked about well, not all of them, but almost all of them were asked about showmances. And I kind of highlighted the ones here, and you'll have to take it for what it's worth. So here's what the ones that answered the question about showmances. Here's what they said. Amy, who, again, Amy is 43, so there's nobody, unless Cliff is married, there's nobody in her age range. The nearest age range are the guys that are in their 30s, and then she's got 20-year-olds. So the odds are pretty slim that Amy's going to even have a glimmer of hope with anybody in the house. However, she said, I'd be so down for a showmance if the right showmance partner was in the house. I don't think there will be. But it really doesn't matter, because she said, but my son said no. But of course, I think we all agree that if there was one that matched her demographics and was open to it, she'd be like, my son will get over it. I'm here for 3 months, and he'll understand. Attorney Ashley said there can only be one showmance if there is one. I found this interesting, the way she said it. It's like, if there's going to be a showmance, it would be mine, and there will not be multiple showmances. That's what she seemed to be implying. If they send me someone who's tall, handsome, nice smile, and charismatic, I think I might be in trouble. I don't know. That's a pretty broad thing. You could say there are some of the guys in here that will fit that bill, but that doesn't mean that it'll be enough for her, or it will get her going. Ava said, hell no, absolutely not. There's no showmance in the cards. Number one, I have a boyfriend. So Ava shut that down pretty darn quick. Isaiah, remember, Isaiah's the Mormon, and he said, my intention is to not enter a showmance, honestly. I know a showmance is going to put that in jeopardy. I think he meant put his game in jeopardy, so he didn't want to do it. We'll see. I think, by the way, by the time the feeds go live on Sunday night late, there will be at least one or two showmances either currently going on or will have started and flamed out. I almost guarantee it. Based on these answers that were given and how many of the women that seemed open to it and the men that seemed open to it, I think there's going to be a couple of different showmances that go on. And don't believe the editing. So when you see the editing on Thursday and Sunday, and it implies that someone is attracted to someone else, they egg people on to say that stuff. And we've watched that. We've watched them say, oh, I think she's pretty hot. And we're like, he wants nothing to do with her. We know it because we've seen the live feeds. They just got him to say it in the diary room, right? So, anyways. Catherine. Young 24-year-old Catherine, I think, or she's 23. I think a showmance this summer is something that I could be open to. It's not something that I'm actively going for. No, but you're open to it. So here's one of the people that I definitely think potentially will have had a showmance by the time the feeds come on, right? And Zach would be Isaiah would be a candidate to have had a showmance with her. Any of the men I talk about from here on out would be potential showmance partners for her, and vice versa. They're all in that age range. I mean, this 20s and 30-year-olds is all in this age range. So that's Catherine. Kelly, web designer Kelly, said, I'm in a very happy relationship with my boyfriend, so I don't see myself getting into showmance. That, I would expect that to be the case, and we'll see. I mean, I don't think she will. Lauren. Youngest player, Lauren. I think if I can use it to my advantage, it would maybe do a showmance, but definitely the end goal is going to be winning. Right, but there you go. So there's another one. Another Kelly and Lauren, or not Kelly. What's her name? Catherine. Catherine and Lauren are my two main showmance candidates, if you ask me. And then as far as the guys that could be in those, we'll get to the rest of them. Yeah, we'll go over this at the end. Mickey Lee said, I will definitely not be in a showmance. I'm not here to find a man or a husband. I think she says, he went on to say something like, there's no way you found anybody put in this house that I would be interested in. Morgan, I think, by the way, Jimmy may have said that he has a partner. I'm not 100% sure, but he didn't make my list. Morgan said, I'm kind of open for it. I mean, hey, what's the worst that could happen? Can look at a cute guy all summer. Doesn't seem so bad to me. So Morgan, again, Morgan was another one. There's a potential. And then Riley, daddy to be, a cowboy bull rider, said, I love knows no boundaries, man. I mean, if a woman comes in and my heart sees what it sees and loves what it loves and feels what it feels, that's for time to tell. That's for the BB house to tell. Okay, Riley. I jokingly said, I wonder if Julie will tell Riley, congratulations, you're a father, on one of the live shows. I don't think she will. And again, we still don't know for sure. This is someone's allegations on Facebook. Who knows? And then finally, Zach. Zach, who reminds me again of Matt from last season. He said, my mom is very religious and she's Filipino. And she told me, Zach, if I see you ever sleeping next to another girl when you get back to the house, I'm going to murder you. So I do have that in the back of my head. But if I do happen to find love in the process, I'm more than thrilled. So you've got Zach, Riley, Isaiah is not saying yes, but I think he's open to it. And then I don't remember what did Keanu say? I don't remember what Keanu said, but I don't have him listed. So, anyways, there's a potential between Lauren and Morgan and Catherine that all three of them, or at least two of them, get in some kind of a showmance relatively early on. And then finally, the last thing I have was who mentioned the live screens, the live feeds, and I already said this, but it was Amy was saying I'm gonna talk to my babies all the time, and then Isaiah talked about people are going to want to watch him on the live feeds, but he didn't say he watched the live feeds. And then Ashley is the one who mentioned Big Brother After Dark. She said she remembered seeing it. She said, if you know, you know. So she was kind of like talking to us in a way. And then Vinny said There's live feeds. It's on 24/7, so there's going to be something happening all the times when the fans of the show can watch and enjoy. And I think he talked about watching the live feeds. And with that, guys, I have made it through. And as far as the number, really, I mean, Ashley answered 5. We made 5 of those. Ashley made a lot. And most everybody else, except for Keanu and Cliff, or Will, answered about the same amount. We're involved in the same amount. So really, Keanu is the one who didn't say a whole lot, which would make me think I need to go back and watch his interview, because what did he talk about if he didn't fall into any of these categories, right? So there you go. That's what I've got, and we are now 75 minutes in. This is my longest podcast in forever, and I will not do another huge long one like this. And as a matter of fact, I won't do a long one like this probably for the rest of this week. My throat's sore, my head's stuffed up, and but hey, I've talked to you about all the house guests. Hopefully that's more information than you even cared to have, but hopefully it helped some of you see my thought process on it or what I'm thinking. And I mean, you're all smart people. You've been paying attention to this game, I think, for years. So there you go. There's my thoughts, and I will button this puppy up and upload it and post it on Blue Sky. And those of you that will get it in your various apps, your iTunes or your TuneIn or your Spotify or wherever you listen to it, thank you for listening. If you listen to the commercials at the end, that's cool too, but I have a feeling some of you just aren't going to make it to that point. So thank you for listening. Hope you have a good Wednesday. If I get more information, I will do something short maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow night is a party here a couple blocks from where I'm sitting right now for it's a lip sync party and all kinds of stuff. So we'll check that out. I'll give you a report on that maybe either late Wednesday or early Thursday. And then there's the live the premiere the next night. So that's it. I'm going to go now. Thanks again for listening. Thanks for your support. Thank you to my patrons. Oh, did I get a new patron? I think I did. I'll have to look that up. This is a long one. There's no way you're listening to this right now. So we'll give you a shout out on the next shorter one. All right. Take care, everybody. Be well, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Lowe's knows July 4th savings are worth celebrating. Right now, get up to 40% off select major appliances and get an additional 10% off 2 or more select major appliances. Plus, get 3 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. These deals are coming in hot. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.